Right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Soshing with Suntwe. I'm just going to take a second to share the post. If you could, whilst you logging on and everybody's getting involved, if you could drop a comment and just say where you're from, where you're watching from, so that everybody knows you're there. And if you are inclined, give the video a share. Tag anyone else who might want to watch. Today should be a good one. Just going to give it a share over here on our phones, and then we'll get right into it. So just bear with for a few seconds. Here we go. Share. Share now.
Share now. There we go. I see it. Okay, I'm going to share it on my end. Share now. Posted.
Right. I'm going to bring it up here.
Great. Okay, I'm all sorted.
I'm almost done.
Nice.
So far, we've got 6 people with us by the looks of it.
Oh, wow, already?
Yeah.
Nice.
Right. Today, everybody, we've got Daniel Lasker with us. Daniel Lasker is a dynamic Zimbabwean-born actor. Most recent work includes The Telling Room, which is a fantasy feature film set for release in 2020 at some point. Last week, you might have been with us where we had Christy Lee Landry, who was involved in the production side of it. I would say she's a producer. Dan, is that right?
Yes, producer of The Telling Room.
Yeah. So Dan is also involved in Ridley Scott's new sci-fi TV series called Raised by Wolves, which is also coming out here on HBO Max. If you're from Bulawayo, you probably know Dan. He was Headboy of Petra High School. And I know Dan, not so much Dan himself, but I know his mum from years and years and years ago. Since I was a little boy, she taught me horse riding. And a little secret that you might find amusing is that your mom was my first proper little schoolboy crush.
Wow, that is an interesting story.
Yeah,
just tell us a bit more about that.
Well, it's one of those where, because she was like, I don't know, she must have been in her 20s when I was very small, And
she's watching this now. Probably she's gonna be. Oh my gosh! Okay, just Karen.
And I just remember her being a beautiful human, like both inward and outward. And as a little 7-8-year-old boy, I just thought the sun shined out of your mom's backside. I just thought she was the greatest thing ever. So
she's lovely.
So Alison, if you are watching, there's my confession. So anyway, it's great to see there's quite a few people already watching. We've got, from what I can see, we've got Lorema Ricks, who's your aunt, is she not?
No, she's my cousin.
I got confused. Sophia, Savannah, Laura, Tracy, David, Ross Johnson, nice. Christine. Hey, there's a whole lot of people watching already, so that's great. Thank you guys for coming and joining us. It means a lot. Christy Lee Landry already just. I love Alison. She is amazing. I agree. Alison's amazing. I'm with you on that. So, Dan.
Yes.
Tell us first about The Telling Room. I think a lot of people will be interested to follow on from last week, because we got Christy Lee's perspective on how it is to be producing a film in the Zimbabwean environment and all the rest of it. Tell us about how you got involved with it, and sort of what it's like getting involved in a production in Zimbabwe, and what it meant to you and how it went.
Cool. Okay, so this is going to be it's a long story, but I'm going to make it short for you. So I think it was very end of 2016. It was like December 2016. I received a message on Facebook from this man named Duncan, who I'd never met in my life, and he'd watched a video that I'd uploaded on YouTube doing a Joker impression of Heath Ledger's Joker from The Dark Knight. So he saw that, someone forwarded it to him, and basically at that time he was casting The Telling Room. He was looking for the lead character to play the role of the magician. So he reached out to me, said that he saw the video and he enjoyed it and he'd like to chat about it. So yeah, it kind of pretty much everything fell into place after that. I met with Duncan and Crystal, read a scene from the script, a couple of scenes, and then it took a couple of weeks of waiting. Duncan is he has a flair for the dramatic, and if you know him well, he likes to take the piss out of people. Like so I think when I was waiting to hear whether I got the part or not, it was about three or 4 weeks later after that initial meeting, and I was back home in Bulawayo because I'd met with them in Harare. I was in Harare doing business. I sound funny saying that, in Harare doing business. But yeah, I was back at home and I get this phone call and Duncan's like, hey, Dan, so Crystal and I, we've been chatting a lot, have been putting a lot of thoughts in who we're going to cast as the lead in the film because, it's an important decision. We can't, choose the wrong guy because it could, end up causing problems for us, later. And he was really milking this, he was dragging on this long thing on the phone and I'm sitting there like, just tell me, do I have this part or not? And he's like, so Daniel, we've decided that you're going to be the character. And then I was waiting there and then I was like, Duncan, oh! But yeah, so that's where the journey started.
But on that, I mean, obviously, so that Joker monologue that you did was obviously part of your portfolio for auditions and stuff at the end of the day, is it?
Well, it was my first, I think, it was my early days of dabbling with acting and trying to figure out what acting was as a craft and what it could be as a potential career option. But to be honest, those were my early days and I didn't really know what I was doing. I remember one day I was watching, when I was watching the Dark Knight, for the 7th or 12th, whatever time I'd watched it, I started repeating, mimicking Heath Ledger's lines, while he was on screen and he was talking to him, why so serious and all. And I just started repeating because I was like, it's amazing. I've never, it's a very interesting energy on screen and it's not the kind of thing that you see, often. So something about it just fascinated me. And that was my early days of, I think, just dabbling with performing and maybe you don't necessarily understand what exactly it is you're doing, but it was those early days of me just, I think, expressing myself as an actor and trying to learn more about it.
Well, that piece, as I mentioned to you before, is the very first thing that I saw of your acting talent. And when I watched it must have been 3 or 4 years ago at least.
It was in 2016, so 4 years ago I did that.
And when I watched it, I was so impressed. I can't even tell you how I was sparked by that piece. And I was like, definitely, I knew then that this guy has definitely got what it takes and he's going to be going places.
Oh, yeah.
So the other thing, you've obviously seen the new Joker movie.
Yes, of course. I think everyone has.
And what do you think of the different portrayals of the Joker between Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, it's a big responsibility to take on a part like that, especially because of all the actors that have done it, before him, and especially, with Heath Ledger doing what he did. I think no matter who takes on that role in the future as well, whenever it gets done, there's always going to be people talking about it and trying to compare, the previous one with the next one. So it's hard, when you have the entire world like out there, and they're being so, people will get so opinionated and they'll get offended, very easily if they're like, oh, I didn't like what Joaquin did there, his Joker was terrible, whatever, and it's just, I think each performance is so different, from the last one, and I'm excited to see, what he does. I hear they're going to be doing a second one potentially, so we'll see where that goes.
It's a very interesting character, and like you said, to compare the two would be unfair.
Yeah,
the storylines are completely different. The intention of what I think the directors are trying to get across is completely different. But the second one, especially if you go back to when the Heath Ledger one, when Joker is being beaten up by the Dark Knight.
Yes. Yeah, by Batman. Yeah.
And when you watch the new Joker as well, the two messages in there are almost prophetic of what's happening in the world at the moment with the rioting and the.
Well,
it's a little bit spooky. I've been thinking about it quite a lot over the last few days.
Well, I mean, reality and art often do imitate each other, you know.
Absolutely, and
it's all part of the same world. So
art is usually what's utilized to be more honest than people are willing to be. So it's a very, very interesting concept. But anyway, we derailed away from the telling room. So,
we have.
So let's go back to that. Very proud that there's another Zim movie coming out, and tell us about your role in it and the character and a bit about that.
So the telling room, okay. To try and sum it up without giving away any spoilers, basically it's a fantasy film, and it's set in a fictional world, a fictional city called Stone Lake, and my character he's called the Magician because, funny enough, he doesn't know what his actual name is, and a lot of the other people of the town don't know what his real name is. But he's very, you know, he's good with card tricks and stuff, and he's kind of like this magic sort of a guy. So everyone knows him as the Magician. You know, that's what he's referred to, and that's what he calls himself. Yeah, I'm the Magician, whatever. And basically, there's a series of murders that start happening in the town that he lives in, and it's to do with a group, like an extended family that he's a part of, that is being targeted by the killer that's killing these people around the town. And basically, he has to try and figure out who this killer is, why he's killing people that have special abilities like he does, and he's got to try and stop it. And also, the killer frames him, you know, for being someone behind these killings. So he's kind of got to prove that he's innocent whilst getting to the bottom of these killings and stopping this killer from killing more people like him, basically. That's a very, very nutshell, terrible summary of what is an amazing, exciting story. If I tried to explain it properly, it would take hours. So yeah.
Oh, cool. So I think it's going to be a great story for everyone to watch and follow, and hopefully it'll get a lot of support locally and internationally.
That's the hope.
And hopefully it'll get a deal like the Cook-Off on Netflix or something like that.
I'm sure. We'll see. Let's see where things go.
Yeah, that'll be great. So now tell us also a little bit about the Raised by Wolves.
Ooh, yes. What would you like to know about that?
Same thing. What's your character? What is it? How does this? What is the setting? I don't think any of us know anything about it, to be honest. So whatever you're allowed to give and divulge, do it. But don't obviously put yourself.
So I mean, obviously, if anyone does want an in-depth idea of what it is, they can just go online right now and search "Raised by Wolves" Ridley Scott. But basically, it's Ridley Scott's new sci-fi TV series for HBO. HBO, it's the same studio that made Game of Thrones, Westworld, many of other amazing series. And basically, they've also just launched their new streaming service called HBO Max, which is like Netflix or like Amazon Prime, whatever. But at the moment, that's only available in the US. I think next year it'll be available worldwide. But basically, it's one of their new shows, and it's been Ridley Scott is kind of like the showrunner of the show. It's his child in a sense, and obviously he's like one of the gods of sci-fi. He did the Blade Runner, The Martian, Gladiator. Or Gladiator's not sci-fi, but you get what I'm saying. He's one of those
alien movies.
One of those true. Yeah, he's a guru. He's a visionary. He's so to be able to work with him in one of his shows, I'm very excited about that.
That's amazing. It's a wonderful opportunity, and I'm also keen to get my teeth stuck into that. I need something else I can binge watch at some stage.
A trailer will be coming out soon. So everyone's going to know about it very soon. Don't worry.
I've heard rumors that it's going to be something to rival on the scale of Game of Thrones. So
I believe that could happen.
So yeah. Don't forget us, eh?
No, don't worry. There's no way that's going to happen.
No, I know, definitely. So just again to shout out to a bunch of people that have joined. We've got Nathan Conradi Hey, Nathan, long time, buddy. Hope all is well. Becky Moyo, Rashane. It was Rashane's birthday the other day, so happy birthday, Rashane.
Happy birthday.
Princess Mercy. Thanks for tagging some others there. That's great. We really appreciate that. Jamie Boynton, I think, is in the States. I'm not sure. But yeah, guys, if you have any comments or any feedback or any sort of information you want to know more from Dan and I, or from Dan more than me, please drop your comments, ask questions. We'll take as many questions as come. And yeah, we'll be happy to address whatever inquiries you have. So now I just want to talk to you, Dan, about sort of your journey into choosing this career. What made you go in this direction?
There's no specific there's no specific one thing that's made me decide to do this, but I remember very early on in my life, when I was somewhere between the age of 7 and 9, the first time that I watched Lord of the Rings. And I mean, I'd always loved movies. Like from the first movie I saw, I've always just adored them. But when I watched Lord of the Rings for the first time, my mind just completely exploded in ways that I didn't know was possible. I literally was witnessing this world that felt so real and I was so passionate about. And then I remember chatting to my dad afterwards, and I was like saying, oh, this is amazing. Like, I want to be an elf and all this. And then, you know, he explained the concept of like, no, that's a movie, you know, people, they make that, it's a job, you know, that's what they do in the real world. And I was like, wait, so you're saying that I could one day do something like that? And just having that realization so early on in my life, and just knowing, I think what it was is that I found something. I just like woke up and was like, this is what I love. This is what I want to do. And because it was made so clear to me so early on, I think that gave me the courage to take that first big step early on.
No, that's awesome. We've got Princess Mercy says, my son is an actor in the movie Cook-Off.
Oh, amazing.
So I celebrate your success and your son's success and the movie's success. It seems to be doing well.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. And I hope that this is the start of a long and prosperous career for him. And yeah, wishing him all the best. Yeah, for sure. Okay, a round of applause. Francis G says, Paul, your hair, there's one hair out of place. Please fix it. So
I think there's more than one. Is he talking to me or to you?
To me. Apparently, I've got a hair out of place.
Well, it is locked up.
That's how I feel every time I watch PH. Maybe I should become a PS. I don't know what he is on about. Please speak in full sentences, Francis. I have no idea what that means.
PH. Yeah, I don't know either. Sorry.
Yeah.
Addressed
as a question, and let me put it on the screen. So he says, addressed to Daniel, last week Paul was talking about who would play him in a movie on his life. He said he would like Tom Hardy to play him. I think Zoe Deschanel would do a better job. What do you think?
Wow, that's very interesting. Actually, I'm gonna pull up a picture of her right now, and I'm just gonna compare her to Paul's face. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening. I could see a world where that works.
I'm open to the options. Just be happy to have anyone.
I'll make sure that if I get her number one day, Paul, I'm going to put her in contact with you. Don't worry.
That's so wonderful. You see, thanks, Graham. Thanks for that.
And thanks for suggesting that. Big thing, small beginning.
That's amazing. Princess Mercy says, how can you audition for international movies?
Who? Your son who was in Cook-Off, right? That's who we're talking about. Okay. That is a very. There's no right or wrong answer to this again. Let me just give my example. Talk about my situation with Raised by Wolves. So, 2.5 years ago, I was still in Bulawayo. You know, just finishing my last year of high school. I knew, yes, I want to be an actor, but now where do I go? Because the film industry is in America, it's in the UK, some of it's in Australia. You know, there's a big industry at the moment in South Africa. So I was just like, where do I go? You know, what's the next step? And especially, you know, in Zimbabwe, there's no real, there's not a lot of, because there's not a lot of people who want to be filmmakers, or, you know, it's like, it's still a very foreign concept to a lot of Zimbabweans. So there's no real, there's not a lot of guidance, or there's no roadmap to how to get there. So I finished school and I decided, look, the best first step would be Cape Town, because the industry has booming at the moment. You know, it's really kicking off. All the big shows are coming to film here, and there's also not as many actors here. You know, if you go to America, if I went to America, there's a million other Daniels. You know, just wanting to, like, they're like, oh, I'm an actor, please pick me. I can audition, and it's like, when there's all that hysteria going on from all those people, why should someone give you the opportunity to be seen over that person? You know, because they don't know who you are. Same as. So I knew that, look, if you really want to, if you want to make it, you have to be smart about this. So I came to Cape Town, and I got an agent. Basically, I looked around at the agents that were in Cape Town, decided the one that I wanted to go with, and I basically sent them an email. They asked me to send a couple of videos, you know, just showing them what I could do, some scenes and whatever, met with them, and they signed me. And then shortly after that, I started going to auditions. You know, they sent me for auditions, and not long after that, Raised by Wolves came to Cape Town and was like, listen, guys, we're going to be filming this show here for the next 10 years, season 1. So we're going to be casting some of the actors locally. Obviously, they'll bring, like, they brought in Travis Fimmel from Australia and a couple of other actors from around the world, but they also cast a lot of South African actors, because obviously when a film is shooting, and whether it's shooting in South Africa or Europe or whatever, normally they have to employ a certain number of actors that live in that country or region as well. But basically, I came to South Africa, and those auditions, those early auditions that you get, your son, just make sure that he goes in there with a lot of passion, a lot of energy, and he just gives it his all, and people will remember him for that, and it'll one step leads to another. He'll get more and more auditions, but that's something as well. If you feel you want to reach out to me personally and message, I'm happy to give you a more detailed response.
Tell me, in the series, are you with a Zim accent or an American accent?
Well, I mean, of course, I can do an American accent very easily, just like that, because, you know, when you're an actor in Cape Town or whenever across the world, you have to be able to switch like that, you know, because think about it. If I'm one day going to audition for the lead character in a Disney movie or whatever, and if a lot of the movies in the film industry, you know, the characters speak with American accents, because the film industry is primarily American. You know, that's where it started. So if I was to audition for the lead role in an American film, and right now I was to start reading the scene to an American, they can instantly tell whether my accent's good or bad. You know, they can pick it up. And if I mess up the accent, that's on me, because I haven't prepared and practiced it enough. And I don't want something like that to ruin my opportunity. Oh, that kid, he's a good actor, but he doesn't sound American. You know, we can't employ him to be in an American film because he just doesn't sound American. So I just to take that hat off. So I do practice my American different accents and whatever. But for Raised by Wolves, it was do a Greek accent. Wow. Gotcha. But for like Raised by Wolves, I actually don't know if I'm allowed to say what accent I have. But basically, it's different. It's a new kind of accent, because think about it. It's a sci-fi show. It's set in another planet and whatever, in space. So, you know, it's not like they don't want it to be like, oh, that guy is definitely from Australia, you know, like, yeah, cool. It's like, you know, guys, this is a fantasy world sort of a thing. You want to.
We'll say it's a unique accent.
It's a unique accent, yes.
Cool. Then from Graham Simmons again, Daniel, in your ideal movie, would you play the villain or the hero?
Ooh, well, I mean,
I know what I would do.
What?
Villains have way more fun.
Well, yeah, no, villains are fun. They're very fun characters, because normally villains don't care about what other people think of them, you know, and that's a fun character to play. It's empowering, you know. Like you're getting to play a character who has their own set of rules and they abide by that regardless of what you think, you know. So that's why villains are a lot of fun to play. But I think it depends on the film, you know, and it depends on the character. You know, just like you can have a villain that is great to play, but you can also have a villain who's a potato. You know, you could have a hero who is awesome, and then there's heroes out there who are lame. They're just badly written. So it depends on the movie.
Agreed. Christy Lee reckons villain, so she's on my page with that. So I wanted to ask you as well, what are some of the defining moments that have brought you to this point now where you are?
Ooh, that's a hard question as well. Defining moments that have brought me. I think the biggest moment for me was the biggest moment that I've had in my life, like eye-opening, was the first day I stepped on set of Raised by Wolves last year, because it's a film set that you don't get bigger sets than this. You know, there's literally hundreds of crew members. The sets that they built are gigantic. Like there's actors over there that I'm about to shoot a scene with, and I'm like, dude, you know, I've watched you in Vikings. You're one of my heroes. Oh my gosh, you know, it's like it was a very, very crazy experience. So just stepping there and that initial moment of realizing, oh God, this universe that I've idolized and I've loved, you know, I've always wanted to be a part of something like this, and now it's right in front of me. And that realization that it's not impossible, because, you know, especially growing up in Zim, where you're so far away from that, you know, like literally films and stuff, that's the other side of the world, you know, you're never going to, the thought of you'll ever meet a famous actor or that, it doesn't cross your mind. So I stepped on set of Raised by Wolves and was instantly just, it was that moment of, I can do, like that realization of how possible it is. And what I'm about to do right now in this moment is not any different from what that actor does over there. There's no special kind of source that this guy has that I don't know about. You know, it's like it is possible. And when you're there and when you get an opportunity to experience, you just realize how possible it is.
It's true. Right, we've got one from Luke Twomlow. If you could voice act in any video game franchise, what would it be? Possibly, I'd love to do a Warcraft character. You know, they've got like orcs and all those cool things with the deep voices and all that. Like, just I love experimenting with characters that are really just out there and crazy. So I think any video game that just gives you a character, which gives you the license to do something strange. Yeah. Nice. What would you say is your driving force that keeps you motivated and keeps you pushing for what you want and your goals?
Always seeing the end goal. I always, from day one, and I'll always say this to people, if anyone asks me, you know, for any shred of advice or whatever, the one thing I'll say is just know from day one where you want to go, what you want to accomplish. Because if you don't know where you're going, you're the captain of the ship, that is your life. And if you, the person behind the wheel, don't know where you're going and where you want to end up, then it's going to be chaos. So if you want to get somewhere and you visualize it so clearly in your mind every day, and it's like you know, like a system, it somehow manifests itself and just gets made clear to you that this is the way. The path shows itself to you. Once you've set your goal, the path will show itself to you, and it's important that you continue to proactively take the necessary steps to get closer to that goal.
So, with all of that in mind, for you particularly, what does success look like? What is a successful outcome?
I want to work with some of the people that I consider to be my biggest inspirations in the film industry. So like Ridley Scott is one of them, you know, and the fact that I've been able to work with him at this stage, I can't believe it, and I'm honored and so thankful. But, you know, there's so many great directors out of there. Tarantino, there's Peter Jackson, who did Lord of the Rings. There's, you know, I want to work with all those people just because I think the work that they've created, it means so much to me and it fills me with so much joy. So I think for me, what I will get the most fulfillment from in my life is that opportunity to work with people like that and create stuff that people genuinely enjoy.
Val Chikali being ever supportive and kind as always. Graham Simmons, who is your most underrated actor or actress, and who is your most overrated?
Cool. It's funny because it's a hard question to answer because I think there's a lot of underrated or underappreciated actors out there. One that's just come to mind, James McAvoy, for example. He is an unbelievable actor, but not as many people like when I ask you what is your favorite actor, he very frequently comes to people's heads straight away. But he's brilliant in everything he does. But there's lots of others, but that's the one that comes straight to mind, James McAvoy. Yeah, and overrated. I don't want to say that because I think that would be mean for whoever I say is overrated. But
I agree. It's unnecessary to go there, I think. That's great. Then we've got G. Hodges. That's Gareth Hodges. I went to junior school with him. He's another Carmel boy. Would you like to live and work in LA, or is that overrated? UK, Gold Coast?
Well, I do think LA is a bit overrated, to be honest. But to be honest, it's wherever the work takes me, really, because I do want to work on a lot of big projects all over the world. So that means I'll have to travel, a lot. And if a film is shooting in Thailand or New Zealand or America, you have to constantly travel between different projects and whatever. So I think for me, I envision the next 10 years of my life. Maybe I just want to be working, film, just working on projects because I've got this creative hunger burning inside me that I need to just continue, feeding. And then I think, as years progress, I'll start to, and as things happen, I'll start to kind of gain a sense of where I want to end up in the world. But for now, it's wherever the work takes me. And yeah.
Christy agrees with you.
LA is super overrated. Here.
Rashane was also saying, how amazing, Daniel, very talented, focused and passionate. You're a hero in Bulawayo Zim. Talking about that, I wanted to ask you, as you can see, there's a lot of support in the comments for what you're doing. Have you found that the community has been generally supportive of you and your progression, or have you experienced a negative aspect of that as well?
Well, I think I've been very fortunate that I've had a lot of support, from everyone who's seen my work. And everyone out there in life, there'll always be people who are negative, and whether it's because they genuinely don't like what you're doing or just because they're jealous, you'll never know. But that's why it's always more important to focus on the positivity of it and the people who are enjoying what you're doing and who are positively impacted by it. I think that's everyone has been very supportive, and I'm very thankful for that. But that also, I think it comes down to the individual. When there's an artist out there, particularly new ones, when they're starting up, whether or not they get support from people, I think comes down to what they're the precedent they're setting themselves, what their true intentions are. If all you care about is getting people to like you and becoming famous and all that, then it's to some people out there it's kind of obvious, but the way I see it is, if someone is going to be successful, they have to want it for the right reasons. They have to want it because if you're going to be a good filmmaker, and you want to be a successful filmmaker, you have to love films. You have to want to make good films. You can't just want to be famous and then decide, oh, I want to be really famous, and the way I'm going to be famous is by being a filmmaker. There are people out there that do that, and I think those people are the ones that will end up either, fizzling out early on or just getting depressed in the long run. So it comes down to the individual deciding what, setting their purpose and their goal, and then everything else kind of follows that.
Like Simon Sinek says, you have to know your why.
Yes, you have to. You have to. Otherwise, you're just flying blindly. You're sailing blindly.
Yeah. Cool. So we've got another one from Colin Frith.
Sounds like Colin Firth.
Yeah, very close. Colin Frith. You look like you've starred in 13 Reasons Why. Would you like to do series? Have you?
Yeah. Well, thank you. well, Raised by Wolves is a TV series that's going to be on HBO. So I think, well, I mean, yeah, obviously I want to do TV series, films, just everything really. I just want to keep creating. 13 Reasons Why is like, I'd say that's like a teen, it's like one of those teen genre, it's not really a rom-com because it's kind of dark, but it's a teen series as such, which, I wouldn't mind doing something in that genre, but it's not my first and foremost passion. I'm more into stuff like whether it's sci-fi or thriller, fantasy, adventure, drama. I love dramas and I love the gritty, real stuff. I definitely want to do a lot of those. But like the rom-com and the teen movie stuff, that is on my list one day, but it's at the back. It's like low on the priority list at the moment.
Mm-hmm. How old are you, Dan?
This is always a topic of discussion because I look like I'm 12. And I get confused myself sometimes because people ask how I'm like, I don't know how old I actually am, to be honest. But according to biology and the date that I was born, I am 21 years old.
21, nice.
Yeah.
You've got such a big road ahead of you. It's going to be amazing. You've got all the time in the world as well. It's great.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Velchikali is asking, do you know Daniela Springer? She's in a movie production in Cape Town.
No, I don't. Daniela Springer. Nice name though, Springer. That's a cool name. But no, I don't know her, unfortunately. Maybe I've met her somewhere, but there is a lot of people working in the industry here. So.
Christy Lee saying that Zimbabweans are very supportive of the up-and-comings in the film industry. That's great. That's a fantastic thing to hear. I think it's very important to be supportive. My motto is that the most successful are those that facilitate the success of others. So when you can lift people up, you will inevitably lift yourself as a result. So supportive is always better than the opposite. Luke Twomlow, what book series would you like to see adapted to a TV or film series that hasn't been adapted yet?
I straight away know the answer to this. I don't know if a lot of people out there have read this book series. Well, obviously they have because it's a bestseller. But in Zimbabwe, I think I only had one friend that had read the book series. But it's called Ranger's Apprentice. And I kind of read that growing up. It's like another Lord of the Rings. It's one of those epic fantasy medieval stories. But it's a really beautiful, fun adventure series, especially when you're growing up. It was just one of the adventures I went on, and that hasn't been done yet. And I think it would make an excellent film series or a TV series. So Ranger's Apprentice, yeah.
Amazing. Luke, you are killing it with the questions, mate. These are great questions. Graham as well, absolutely killing it with the questions.
Yes, thanks, guys. Thank you.
Colin says, thanks for the great answer. So that came out well. Talking of books, what are you currently reading?
At the moment, I'm actually reading this book called two books, Homer's Odyssey, and an audiobook that I'm listening to is actually, it's by Ben Shapiro. It's called A Couple Steps on How to Destroy America. So it's just to do with like politics and all that stuff.
I love Ben Shapiro.
He's interesting. He's fascinating. But I read a lot of books and I listen to a lot of books. So it's whatever interests me at the moment, I'll take it in and then on to the next.
Yeah, I'm a book listener at the moment. I was when I first arrived in the UK, I was working as a garden laborer, for a landscaping business, and I was crushing like 3 books a week because I just listened to it while I was working all day.
Yes, it's amazing audiobooks, to do that.
Christy Lee Landry is saying, which book has most influenced your acting journey?
Interesting. I'd say, I don't know. I think, I've only really read one like book on acting as such. I've read lots of different sources and whatever, but the one book that I'm trying to see if it's nearby. It's somewhere here, but that I'd always come back to is called The Power of the Actor. Was written by Ivana Chubbuck. She's an acting coach in LA, and it's, even if you're not an actor, just like it has a lot of important lessons like on how to be a powerful human being. Because if you think about it, actors that you enjoy on screen, Denzel Washington or whoever it may be, just, you know, those real powerhouses that you love. The reason you enjoy them is because they're in their own unique way. They leave an impression on you. You know, whether they're whether they're a comedian or whether they're intense or whatever they're doing, they're effective at it and they're powerful, you know, in their own rights. So the book kind of teaches you how to bring that powerful energy to your characters, but it's also something that you can apply to your everyday life.
Rashane is saying, our son Kai is enjoying all your books from when you were a young boy. Your mom thought we were a good home for them after you left for SA. We have a beautifully eclectic array of books on our bookshelf now, so thank you for that.
It's a pleasure. Enjoy them.
I love the way that Bulawayo knows each other.
I know, it's great. It's great.
G. Hodges has said, Daniel, what do you reckon of Paul's crazy life antics? Are you similar? I.e., do you do your own stunts or let the stunt double handle it?
Interesting. I have to say I have a lot of respect for you have some balls of steel, Paul. Like, I don't know if I'm ready to go bungee jumping and doing all that some of the crocodile wrestling and whatever. I
promise you, it's all a lie.
It's all what's all a lie? Fear's all a lie, or
no. I'm a wuss. I'm not a brave guy.
You're not a brave guy.
No. I spend most of my life absolutely terrified.
I see.
But I did
anyway. All of a sudden, guys.
What was that?
No. I just said we're getting deep all of a sudden. But I was about to answer something. Now I've lost my train of thought.
Sorry, I killed you there.
No, don't worry. What was it? It was
about stunts. Doing your own stunts.
Yes. Well, okay. Since we were talking about telling room, I think Krista Lee can back me up here in saying that I obviously, because, you know, we were in Zimbabwe and we were doing it very low budget and running gun, whatever, we, you know, can't really have stunt doubles. You know, we don't really have the Hollywood luxury of just, we can find someone who looks exactly like Daniel and he's fit and whatever, get him on set and he'll do, you know, it's hard to organize that. So there were a lot of scenes where I genuinely got my ass kicked, slammed into walls and stuff, but it was fun and it was worth it. And on Raised by Wolves, oh no, I can't. I was about to give a spoiler there. No, but I do some cool stunts on Raised by Wolves. That's all I'm going to say.
Nice. Great. Well, we're coming up to 45 minutes already.
Wow.
I want to give a quick shout out again to everybody. Say thank you so much for coming and joining us. Obviously, without you guys watching, this would only be half as effective. I mean, Dan and I would still have a great conversation, but I would still do it. But thank you for coming and supporting and seeing what this is all about. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please tag people, share the video. Every single Wednesday, I do this with a different guest. Sometimes I bring back guests. Sometimes it's a solo mission, just depending on what the situation is. If you know anyone that would be an interesting guest, please tell them to get in touch with me, inbox me, drop me a comment. If you think you'd be an interesting guest or you've got an interesting topic you'd like to talk about, let's talk about it. Let's explore different perspectives. Let's try and open our minds to different viewpoints on things. I'm happy to talk about pretty much anything. I'm still looking for someone that wants to breach the conservation topic with me because I have some interesting ideas, thoughts, and paradoxical viewpoints on it that I don't necessarily believe, but I would like to discuss with somebody in that field. So please get in touch. I'm really, really happy to chat to anybody. If you want to drop some more questions, we'll give you a few minutes for that. But otherwise, if there's no more questions coming up, we will try and wrap it up and keep it brief, sweet, and to the point. I don't know. Is there anything else that you would like to add, Dan? Is there anything in the back of your mind that you want to bring to the attention of everybody here?
That I want to bring to the attention. No, really. Hey, I'm just, if there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer. But that was a great discussion. Yeah.
I've got one last big question for you.
Yes, shoot, go for it.
what is the message that you want to leave in this world? What is the sort of legacy message and impact that you want to have on the world?
Interesting. So I'll attempt to articulate this accurately, but given that it's just an impromptu answer right now, I'll describe it as best as I can. But if I could inspire even just a few people to really look within themselves and find their true passion, their true love, and discover what they want to do in this life. You know, what their telos is. That's an interesting word. If no one knows what your telos is, go and Google that right now. TELOS. But basically, I believe that people need. I think a lot of people will be happier if they figure out what that is early on in their lives. And I really love for people to not experience life and spend their time doing what they really truly want to do. You know, too many people live and die without getting to experience what they truly love and want to do. So I'd love to motivate more people to do that.
Wonderful. So telos is the root of the modern term teleology, the study of purposiveness or of objects with a view to their aims, purposes, or intentions. Teleology is essential in Aristotle's work in biology and his theory of causes. So there, I did the work for you guys. You didn't have
Yeah. But yeah, it's funny, but not enough people, you know what that kind of thing is. And I think the more people are aware of that kind of stuff, and the more that they take it seriously and are honest with themselves about it, it can make a lot of people happier.
So we've got two people in the know here asking a very vital question, both Christy Lee and Fiona Ricks. What about your film? What about your own movie? Tell us about your film.
My own film. So, I mean, I want to be sparing on the details that I give because it's still early stages. You know, we've you'll see the telling room before you see my film, because basically the film's almost done. It's almost, you know, editing, everything's done. We're still finishing some stuff, working on the sound and whatever for it. But basically, we're then gonna, over the next several months, be sending it to festivals and then be meeting with potential distributors and stuff. And it'll probably be sometime next year, early in the first half of next year, that people will see it. But basically, it's my first full-length movie that I've directed myself. Yeah.
Wonderful. Great. Well, I think that's it from us. And I think that's where we're going to wrap up. So everybody, don't forget to keep your eye open for the telling room. Don't forget to keep on looking out for Raised by Wolves. That's going to be amazing.
Yes.
Some amazing stuff coming out of Zim at the moment. If you haven't watched The Cook-Off yet, do it. It's on Netflix.
Go watch it.
Yeah, support local, guys. And yeah, Dan, let's just see another comment. It's going to be awesome. Huge amount of work. Yeah. Dan, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here today. And it's been great chatting with you. Last time I saw you, you were literally a toddler, so it's great to see you all grown up.
Time moves, dude. It never stops.
Yeah, and perhaps we'll have you on again as things progress and we get an update and see how your growth goes.
Absolutely, dude. Thank you. I look forward to it. And thank you, everyone, for watching.
Great. So that's us signing off. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night.